Hi there. We are going to discuss Week 1, Lesson 1. Week 1, Lesson 1 is the first activity that I ask you to do because it's about introducing yourself. When you go to an interview, you're going to introduce yourself. When you go to meet new people, you're going to introduce yourself. When you pass the interview, your recruiter will endorse you to your next interviewer, and then you're going to need to introduce yourself again. If you are working in sales, if you are working in IT, or if you have an office job, or if you have a business, you are going to introduce yourself. So I felt that it would be appropriate for week 1, lesson 1 to be you introducing yourself. So for a lot of people, myself included, there's a problem when it comes to introducing ourselves. I remember this time back in school where what do you call that? My teacher, I don't remember what grade, but my teacher began to scream at me in front of the class, and all of my classmates were laughing at me because of the way that I answer questions about how I introduce myself. So they asked me, "What's your name?" I said, "Kevin." "Where are you from?" I said, "Parañaque." "And what do you enjoy doing?" "Watching TV." And then my teacher began to raise her voice or raise his voice. I don't even remember if my teacher is male or female. The teacher began to raise his or her voice and said, "Kevin, when you answer questions, you need to answer questions using a complete sentence." So the proper answer is, "My name is Kevin. I live in Parañaque. I like watching TV." And that's one of the first lessons that I wanted to teach you. I wanted to teach you to answer questions in a complete sentence, because that's what you need to do if you want to sound more professional. And I've seen this after checking thousands of writing activities. A lot of people still answer single question. Answer questions with a single sentence or a short phrase. And that's one big problem. You don't sound professional. You don't sound serious. And as a result, the job will often go to someone else whenever you're applying, or the opportunity may go to someone else. Because, you see quotes on Facebook saying that English is not a measurement of your intelligence. Do you know why we have that quote? We have that quote because deep inside, people judge your intelligence based on how well you communicate. If you communicate poorly, to them, you are stupid. But yeah, that doesn't measure your intelligence, but deep down in your heart, you measure other people's intelligence by how well they communicate. Think about your boss, for example. Have you ever heard the saying that my boss just has a lot of money, or my boss is just this, my boss sucks, like my boss is stupid, like I don't even know why my boss is a boss, my boss is so stupid? Why are you saying that your boss is stupid? Chances are your boss may have poor communication skills. Maybe you're having trouble with your boss because your boss failed to communicate the task and you failed to do the task because of the poor communication, and that started the friction between you and your boss. But it's all communication skills. So the first rule to sound more professional is to complete sorry the first rule to sound professional is to answer questions using a complete sentence. Okay, so next. And by the way, the reason why I'm recording this video is I wanted to minimize the amount of time that I spend correcting errors and grammar problems. I usually have 50 to 100 students at a time, and I need to check a lot of writing exercises. So if you end up stopping, or if you end up answering questions with complete sentences, that would help me a lot because I don't need to write, please answer the question using complete sentences. Because, like every error that we fix helps me and it also helps you. When you answer in complete sentences, you're gonna sound more professional. So, anyway, let's move on to the actual activity. I'm going to read through the activity and then I am going to explain what it means and what to do. So, I'm going to share my screen and show you the activity. The title of the activity is Basic Introductions. I begin the activity by giving you my actual introduction. I don't give out all of these details when I meet people. However, I do have these details in writing. I do have these details ready, just in case I need to introduce myself to people. And a whole bunch of these sentences are interchangeable, and I just select from this long list of sentences depending on where I am and who I'm going to introduce myself to. So I'm gonna tell you the usual introductions. My name is Kevin. I live in Parañaque. I used to work in sales. I previously worked for a call center company named West Contact Services in Makati. My dream job is to work from home. I want the ability to work from anywhere. I don't want to spend 5 hours a day in traffic. Working from home gives you the ability to earn dollars and spend in pesos. All I need is my laptop and an internet connection. I currently work as a project manager for an IT company based in Missouri. I have a difficult time talking about what I'm good at. I was previously bad at a lot of things. I grew up with the reputation of having poor communication skills. I spent most of my working life working jobs that require higher level communication skills as a basic requirement. I learned how to cook at age 25 out of necessity. I made my oh, let me try again. I made money selling food in the call center. Many of my friends request that I cook for them. Many of my skills are previously my weakness. That's why I'm hesitate to brag about those. I studied at iAcademy in Makati. It, it's an expensive school, and I was only able to stay 1 year in college. One of the things that I've changed as I continue to work on my writing skills is I avoid using pronouns whenever possible. So my sentence here should be I Academy is an expensive school and I was only able to stay 1 year in college. I had to stop, oh, sorry. Again, I had to start working when I turned 18. When I left school, a manager in the company I work for encouraged me to read books to improve myself. My manager told me that he also didn't finish college. Despite his challenges, he's a manager now. My manager has a high paying job. My manager owns a car. My manager bought a house with his own money. My manager encouraged me to invest in books. I didn't immediately believe in my manager. I grew up hearing that people who didn't feel, oh, I found a mistake. I grew up hearing that people who didn't finish college are doomed to a life of low paying jobs. I eventually met other people who didn't finish college but had jobs in high places. I tried to find out what they all had in common so I can copy what they have and eventually build a life that I would be proud of. Many of these people, like I said, many of them, or the people who didn't finish college but had good lives, read books, took notes, and had friends who supported them. I started doing that. When I say that, I mean I started reading books, taking notes, and collecting friends who will support me. My first job only paid 6,000 pesos a month. I was working in the mall as a promodizer. In 2019, I accepted a job offer that paid 88,000 a month. I've met people in their 50s who haven't even gone past entry level positions. I have no idea how far reading books, writing my thoughts, and getting mentors will take me, but here I am, teaching communication skills. This is the first skill that my mentor recommended. He promised me that if I could communicate well, I could get high paying jobs. And he was right. So again, when I say he, my manager, so my manager promised me that I could, oh, my manager promised me that if I could communicate well, I could get high paying jobs. My manager was right. I'm here to teach you what I learned in the past 2 decades. Thank you for joining my lessons. So, here's the activity. I want you to write 15 sentences about yourself. The goal is to get you comfortable at introducing yourself and communicating your thoughts without feeling any form of mental block. If you know the words to your intro and your story, you'll be confident when you begin to speak. You're free to use my story as an example of how to introduce yourself. Of course, you can copy the format of my sentences, but I advise against copying my exact sentences. Copy the format. Copy from the kind of examples that I talk about. Copy the areas of my life that I talk about. But don't copy the exact sentence because, you know, when you go to interviews, the interviewer will ask you to talk about yourself. And when the interviewer decides to ask you to talk about something interesting, the interviewer will just ask you about it. So if you're not interested in bodybuilding or health and fitness or martial arts, don't copy my examples about bodybuilding and fitness and martial arts because you're not going to be able to talk about that. If you're not interested in cooking, do not talk about cooking. Talk about the things that you're interested at or interested in. Sorry. Um, hmm. Let me see. Please note that my intro is 50 sentences long. I just wanted to show you that I can do 15. Oh yeah, I wrote that here. Huh. It's always a good idea to write as many sentences as you can in your first attempt. Because in reality, I rarely use 50 sentences to talk about something. I use more sentences if I'm giving instructions and if I'm telling stories. If I'm introducing myself, I only use a few sentences. My name is Kevin. I live in Parañaque. I used to work in Makati. I like watching TV. Well, that's true. I don't own a TV. I like watching TV at other people's houses. I spend a lot of my time writing. I spend a lot of my time tinkering with computers. I'm interested in technology. I'm interested in business. I'm interested in martial arts. I'm interested in cooking and so on. So please remember to include the following details. So if you're looking for work, these details are extremely important. My name is, I used to work as, I used to work for, my dream job is, I'm good at, I studied at, and that's how you build your intro. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message. And when you're done watching this, just leave a comment that says that you're done, just so I know that you're done. And I look forward to practicing with you in the next lesson. Thank you so much for watching up to the end, and I'll see you soon. Remember, in your activity, 15 sentence introduction, I want you to find your most important 15 sentences that you will use all of the time. When you can introduce yourself well, you'll sound confident and you'll be able to meet more and more opportunities. Why am I confident when I speak? That is because I've written my introduction thousands of times. I'm, at the time of this recording, 35 years old, and I've been working since I was 17. Well, unofficially 17. I got my formal job when I was 18, and I've been attempting to find a good way to introduce myself to people for about 20 years already. So, if this is your first time introducing yourself, yeah, go ahead. And oh, yeah, and if you're not enrolled in our program, introduce yourself in the comments. One of the reasons why I do this, one of the reasons why I conduct trainings, why I write free lessons is because I enjoy meeting new people. So if you enjoyed this lesson, consider enrolling in our program or just introduce yourself. Send me an email, visit my website. Anyway, I'll stop here and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching again. Bye bye.